You are now tuned in to Power Podcasts, the Empower Hour. Peace and blessings, beautiful souls. I am Brandi L. Bates, author of Moonshine for the Soul, The Art of Grind, and many other books. I'll be your host for tonight. You can find me on Twitter at Soledad Francis and on Instagram at Brandi is Winning. Most of these podcasts can be found archived on YouTube, #Power Podcasts, but please listen to them while they still have all of their spirit and vitality by subscribing to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and or brandybates.podomatic.com. As soon as we're born, we're giving a name, religion, nationality, ethnicity, and a race. And we then go on to spend our lives defending these social constructs, these boxes. We go on to work so hard to finance and fund beliefs and ideologies surrounding these social constructs, these Judeo-Christian boxes and spaces. You're a woman, so you're this. You're a Christian, so you're that. You're a Muslim, so you must think like this. You are from a Western country, so this is how you behave. This is what you believe. Be careful what you ask for, because if it's worth anything, it will require you to come out of comfort. No matter what your empire or dynasty looks like, it will require you to build it out. Right? And for some reason, we assume that, take for instance, any power couple, any family business, dynasty, an empire, something that lasts through generations, through decades and decades and decades and decades and decades. The businesses that have been around for 150 years, or the family trusts and schools and churches and you name it, right? It requires a certain level of thick skin, of resilience, of overcoming. You think about how your family behaves, how people behave in relationships, how people behave in the corporate arena, how people behave in the courtroom, right? Just natural human nature. And it's confounding to me. It baffles me how people can maintain empires and dynasties and family businesses and legacy decades and decades and decades, because it requires a certain level of endurance, a certain level of stick-to-itness, a certain level of fortitude. But if what you want, what you pray for, what you wish for, what you hope for, your deepest desires, if it's worth anything, it will require you to come out of comfort. No matter what your idea looks like, it's going to require sacrifice. You can't walk in someone else's template or someone else's shadow and still expect to be happy, because it's that person's template, right? Not yours. And what I see is a lot of people imitating and walking in someone else's template, walking in someone else's shadow, walking in someone else's, I took this path, I took this route, did it this way, And so because it worked out a certain kind of way for that individual, you mimic and imitate their walk. That works, I believe, in certain areas, and it's beneficial in many, 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 many industries. But when it comes to your actual why you're here, your purpose, the higher call on your life, the higher vision for your journey, your heroic reason for your heroic journey, why you're here today, why you were born in this time, in this age, it cannot be paint by numbers. Carl Jung reminds us, or Carl Jung, the Jungian enthusiast, right? He reminds us that the shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases, right? Because what works for you doesn't work. It's what works for us on this side of the globe is causing oppression and warfare and blood diamonds, right? And sweatshops. It's causing those things in another area, in another zone of the planet. But if your loyalty and allegiance, think about any type of job or relationship or team or anything that's dealing with another person, any type of relationship, interpersonal or otherwise, you have to always ask yourself, like, if this person's loyalty, or if this job, or if this entity, if their loyalty and allegiance fluctuates, is that something you really want? Like, pay close attention and home in on what you've linked up with, what you have partnered with, what you have gone into covenant with, right? I love non-one-dimensional characters, because so often, like, we watch movies and TV shows or read fiction with one-dimensional characters, and this has such an effect on how we show up in our interpersonal relationships. We mimic what we consume, because life imitates art. And so I ask you today, what are your stretch goals for 2020? Do you have any stretch goals? What are your stretch goals? I mean, some shit that's going to really make you reach beyond your grasp. And understand that just because you're struggling doesn't mean you're failing. Just because you're going through shit doesn't mean you are moving away from the target. It could mean you're moving closer. You're getting warmer. No struggle, no progress. Period. There can be no revolution or growth in comfort. And so be aggressively patient. Aggressively patient. Work your ass off and be patient. Sometimes we have to learn to say no to like 99% of the things that are requested and required of us, so we can focus. So we can focus on solving the right problems. I grew up, fun fact, I grew up in Inglewood, California. And so two aspects of this really stand out in terms of shaping and molding my character. I lived just beneath the flight pattern of LAX, one of the largest and most busiest airports in the world. And literally, my formative years, literally, I woke up every morning and I went to sleep most nights, again, of my formative years, watching airplanes take flight and land. And this taught me to be more of a dreamer, like, because it was the airplanes always reminding me that everything on its rise, everything that elevates on the come up, always point their noses to the sky, towards the wind. And second, I believe that kids who grow up in a city or a state or a country, village or region, looking at the coast as opposed to being landlocked, you see the world differently, right? Your vision tends to be more open-ended when you are reared in near ports or port towns, where there's a lot of import and export going and coming. And so the exposure to diverse cultures and exotic cuisine and divergent languages and tongues, that has a certain pull and a certain stretch on your mindset, on your mentality, on your attitudes. And your idea of what's possible looks so different. And so I say all that to say today to you, be yourself. Be yourself, because this world worships the original, baby. What the world criticizes in you, cultivate that shit. Build it. Buff it out. Keep it shiny. Because that's you. That's the real you. Listen, when you really get on your level, like really on your level, everybody will want to work with you. Everybody will claim they knew you. Everybody will act like they've always been down. Oh, I went to school with her. Oh yeah, I remember I used to work with her. We're all guilty of it in some way, depending on, if you're starstruck or But keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thizzle. Keep doing your original sound, your original flavor, your fingerprint. What makes you the unique snowflake that you are? For some, it's your YouTube videos or TikTok. For some, it's your words, your thoughts, and ideas made flesh, your manuscripts, your dreams can and will come true for you. That's what we don't realize. Your shit's coming to pass, like whether you like it or not. But now how it's gonna look and feel all depends on what you bring to it. Some of your best shit, some of your best material will come from you just plugging away in your bedroom, in your basement, in your garage, sitting at your kitchen table, on the sofa. Like some of your best shit, it's not going to come from sitting at a desk, formally in your office underneath your fluorescent artificial light. It may come from, getting chased by a dog. It may come from sitting out, relaxing on at the pool. It can come from, just a nice, beautiful, scenic ass drive, through the countryside. Like it happens suddenly and it's unexpected, and it's always like an aha moment. Mixing business and pleasure is never a good look. I don't know who needs to hear that. But mixing business and pleasure never works. It might work for a time. It works for a time. But long term, rarely. And so you have to learn how to compartmentalize aspects of yourself. Nobody is saying, tone down be who you are. But learn how to compartmentalize, because it's a time and a space and a place for everything. And they don't always roll on the same, on the same freeway. But don't confuse truth with the majority opinion, right? The public, the majority is always wrong. Like the shit we're enduring and seeing in the political arena right now, we're going to look back at this 20 years from now, and this shit is going to be laughing stock. Like straight stand-up material, sitcom material. You know, and there are some of us that is like seeing the bullshit for what it is, but the vast majority is just falling victim to it. Just believing the hype, believing the propaganda, buying into, you know, what everybody, majority. Fuck majority. The extreme limit of wisdom. That's what the public calls wisdom. The extreme limit. But the ancient world, what I find fascinating is that the ancient world was always fascinated with the subconscious mind. You look at any ancient tribe, ancient civilization, from the Olmecs and Toltecs and the Aztecs to the Egyptians and the Dogon, to the Greeks, Persians, Babylonians, ancient Sanskrit peoples. They were fascinated because even in their primitiveness, if you will, they understood that like the shit that we see is coming from somewhere else. Success is the result of consistently and purposely doing the uncomfortable. Period. Consistently and purposely doing the uncomfortable. Because people think like, once I get to this point where my money is right, like I'm not going to have to worry about certain shit. But what you don't understand is you're going to get some new fucking problems, right? Your problems may not be of a financial degree. It may be your kids, your parents, your family, your siblings. It may be your health. It may be some shit that's like your money can't fix, right? You're always going to have to be uncomfortable as long as you're growing, as long as you're expanding. That's how you know you're expanding. When all that shit stops and it's a wrap, you're dead. That's what that means. But understand just how the weather can go from barren, drought, wilderness, to torrential rains. When you come into your season, in a snap. That's how it happens. Suddenly. Suddenly, it will happen for you. Only you have the power to determine whether your future mimics your past or not. You determine that. That's all you. Yeah, that's all you. If the next decade looks like the last decade, which is this decade, that's your fault. That don't have shit to do with the president or the economy or your upbringing or your parents. Is you. Y'all keep listening. I'm telling you. Keep listening to these people who don't even know how to wipe from front to back. No pot to piss in. No window to throw it out of. Don't have two nickels to rub together. And this is who you're listening to. This is who you're following. Again, when you follow everybody, you make the same mistakes as everybody. The same shit the blind lead the blind. The same shit they fall prey to, you fall prey to when you follow people. Everything is energy. We forget. Remember in all ways every day. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. Everything. We are energy beings first. Carbon-based beings. Energy is our first language. Even from an embryonic level. The human body is both biocomputer and consciousness, both wave form and particles, chi, prana, electromagnetic energy, kundalini. It's about returning to unified consciousness, because the inner universe of the mind is like the physical world. It's a living organism, and it functions according to natural laws. The molecules in your body, the cells in your body, the blood, your limbic system, your endocrine system, they all follow natural laws. And that's why on very windy days, you can touch certain people and feel a spark or an electric shock. Think about that. Touch somebody's finger on a windy day. Certain people, you'll feel a spark, a shock. The bulk of your friends should be of the brightest and best you can fucking find. Smart, driven, ambitious, hungry. People who read, people who learn shit, people who are going places, and you can tell they're going places based on their conversation and the shit they're into, what they're doing, what they're building, what they're producing. And then only a handful of your equals, and a minuscule minority charity cases, people who you can teach and mentor, but who can do absolutely nothing for you, because energy is contagious. And most people do it backwards. They do it wrong. They surround themselves with people who are just like them. We want to be around the people who think like us, who agree with us, who won't question us, who won't check us, who won't disagree with us and challenge us. But what challenges you changes you. And you can't be changed until you're confronted. You're not going to confront your fucking self. Sometimes somebody else or something has to confront you and your beliefs and your ideas and the way you do things before you can change it. Before you can correct it, you have to be made aware that this can be corrected. Do you follow me? We have an unconscious self which contains everything our ego disowned while constructing our persona. And we project our most disliked shadow qualities onto others, always. In every field or industry, whether it's in business or the arts or sports and the humanities, there's a group of people, a minority, who dominate and just do things better. Study those people. Study those people. I've gotten myself to a point in my life where literally whatever I manifest, and this only happened because I was able to tap in and tune into my true inner core. My inner core is I'm an empath and I'm an introvert, and I do better by myself in solitude. Now, don't get me wrong. I can do great around groups and family and certain people, but I am my best when I can, go within my own dark caverns and my dark thoughts in my solitude. And what I've learned is this has enabled me to manifest things super quick. And so it only takes a little bit of what we call time. But it's become easier to get everything into alignment. And that's what has to happen first. Your thoughts, your words, your attitude, your energy, everything that you bring to it has to be in alignment for shit to get on one accord and happen for you to see certain things. And some things you thought you wanted to manifest or see or do or have or be, etc., 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 And when you start seeing it making its way towards you, you're like, whoa, this isn't quite, I don't think I want this. That happens too. Forget mistakes. Forget failures. Forget everything. If you fucked up, you fucked up. You're allowed to fuck up in this life. But forget it all your mistakes. Anything that happened yesterday and beyond is behind you. Remember, everything in elevation points its nose to the sky. All you need to focus on is what you're going to do now, and do it. Single-minded focus on what you're going to do and just do it. Move your wheels and move your engine towards your desires. Peace is the result of retraining your mind to that space of serenity and tranquility. It's the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is, rather than how you think it should be. And could you imagine if life was how? Just think of the most craziest ideologue you could think of. A Marxist, a Nazi, Gestapo, right? What if the world was how they thought it should be? Imagine how life would be. And I'm not saying agree with everything as it is, but you can't. You'll always beat yourself up if you're always pressed towards what you want it to be as opposed to what it is. Learn to be brave and eclectic enough to see possibility amid naked negativity. Like, work on you. Fix you. Not on everybody else. Because you are the common denominator in all of your relationships. Whenever I meet somebody that's older and they're like, they're single, they've been alone for 1,000,000 years, and I'll just listen to them for a while, and I'll see if they're the type of person to blame everybody else. It was always the ex-husband or the ex-wife. It was always somebody else. Always, never them. And I'm looking at them like, but you're the common factor in all those relationships. And very few people are able to look themselves in the mirror and be like, you know what? I'm the reason this shit fell apart, right? When you're going through, see, people need understanding, not judgment. When you're going through a storm in life, you need advice, not judgment. You need a life raft, not condemnation. Remember that when you fix your mouth in condemnation, like whether you're condemning another person, people, situations, institutions that you don't fully even understand, all we know about is what we see. And usually what we see is a very small minority, minuscule amount of what something is. Everything is like an iceberg. And we're making all these blanket judgments about shit we don't even know or understand the fabric of, barely. But innovation belongs to the women and men who see what all see, yet think what no one else thinks. Our personal choices influence ours and the world's welfare, believe it or not. Your personal choices affect your household and your family. And that in turn affects the block. And that affects the neighborhood, the village, the municipality, the district. And that affects the city And that affects the country. Everything you buy is a vote of confidence. Everything you contribute to, your energy, your thoughts, your presence. That's why I always say thank you for listening. Because your energy, your attention it's a commodity. But again, oftentimes you will be isolated, consecrated, so you can find your soul purpose. And it may seem like you've lost friendships and relationships, and shit is painful. It hurts. Most people can't deal with abandonment and losing friends and people, falling out of your life. But finding your passion, your path and purpose in this life is worth more than any commodity or investment or amount of gold, because your purpose, those are the return on investment. Your purpose can be scaled and monetized into eternity. That's why the best artists, best singers and actors, comedians are worth more in death than in life, because they tapped into their purpose and created something, built something that will outlive them and thus immortalize them. Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, Whitney Houston, Prince. There will be years that you're going to learn more effectively in your storms and chaos and pain and blood and confusion. And other years, you will gain more in peace and balance and security. But you will only learn and understand it later at the end of the game. Period. And so talk as if what you want is in the process of coming. I don't give a fuck what the world is talking about or lamenting this week. I don't care what they're talking about. I don't care what's trending. I don't care what they're talking about on Fox and CNN and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter how long you've been stuck in a pattern that's kept you from fulfilling your highest idea of yourself. You get what you focus on. So focus on the good shit. Wherever you find yourself, rise. Whatever life plants in your garden and wherever life plants you, bloom with grace. Because everything difficult, trying, and everything tumultuous in your life will require grace. Bloom right where you are. Because all that shit is contributing to your soil. All the bullshit is manure that is just making you stronger, giving you nutrients, giving you mineral, giving you material. Think about your primal genius and potential. Like the day you were born, there was so much fucking potential in you. And your parents saw it, your mom saw it. Those closest to you, they know your potential. They can tell you better than you can. Because a lot of times, truth be told, a lot of us run from our fucking potential. We run from our gifts. We run from our talents. Your entire environment absolutely must be audited and then optimized. From your work labs to your cars, to your friendships and your relationships, who you laid up with, to your vocation, to the hotels you stay at, how you sleep, your sleep ritual. Do you make it all dark or do you listen to like binaural, beats? Do you listen to rainfall? Do you just go to sleep with the TV on? To your nutritional needs, your fuel. All of this for you to materialize the primal genius and the native greatness currently resting and residing within you. Shit has to be recalibrated. Eckhart Tolle reminds us the greater part of human pain is unnecessary. It's a self-created, it's like an illusion. Self-created as long as the unobserved mind runs your life. And the pain that you create now is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. So they say, somebody said that giving in to temptation is basically prolonging pain. Because in the long term, in the long run, you're going to get pain out of that giving into that temptation. That's why discipline is so beautiful. Because discipline builds out the habits that are later going to build you out and build you up. But it's all about how well you handle stress. Anything worthwhile is going to take a long time. Your masterpiece will require a lot of living. Now, don't get me wrong. Everyone's timetable looks different. Some people are going to come into their diamonds, their acre of diamonds, when they're 16. Some are going to come into their acre of diamonds when they're 26. Some not until they're 86. Some, they won't even realize they came into it until they're on their deathbed. Everyone's timetable looks different. That's why it's not fair to say you're a late bloomer or you got a late start in life. Some people weren't meant to ball out until your later years. Some people, they reached it early, and that's their journey. The outer universe reflects the inner universe on every level. An organization will have the same energy as its head. All things are top down. If the CEO and the leadership are full of shit and greedy and manipulative and deceptive, that will be the energy of the organization or the company or the team. And so whatever is going on in your inner world will always make itself visibly known and physically felt. For everything we know about ourselves, our beliefs, our values, attitudes, emotions, there is a corresponding unconscious opposite. It's there. We don't realize it. If you're blessed, if you're able, you will experience it. But in our psychological immaturity, we see things, dualistically in terms of either or, good or bad. He's bad. She's an angel. There's no such thing. Because the best of us have some wickedness in us. And even the wicked among us have some light within them. And automatically we tend to repress or disown that which our egos considers the less desirable option. But when opposites remain isolated from one another, any disorders within them remain constant, or they're going to increase. And that's why it is crucial, absolutely, that you deal with your shit. Whatever you don't uproot and face and handle it is going to haunt you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful, amazing rest of your day. Call your loved ones. Love on them. Hug on them. This is harvest season. Let's plant some beautiful seeds. Peace.